Well, my name is Conor McGilling, and this is One Leeds, and this is the Rumour Mill. This is One Leeds. Welcome back to the latest video. This video, as always, is sponsored by Shop GNO, The Job Match Group, and Match Bingo. Let's get into it. First up, the Job Match Group. Whether you're looking for your next big gig or just browsing, the Job Match Group has niche job sites made just for you. F1, retail, security, and loads more. They're about matching the right person to the right job. Make sure you check them out if you're ready to level up your career. Then we've got Shop GNO, an exciting new e-commerce site where you can grab exclusive deals and discounts. Right now, One Leeds has an affiliate link just below where you can score a 25 quid membership for free, unlocking special rates and benefits. You can even list your own shop on there with way better rates than Amazon, eBay, and Vinted. They've got some Leeds bits and some general bits now and launching soon, plus some great prizes just for signing up. This is all powered by a massive Leeds United fan looking to make waves in the online shopping world. So check them out and support your local. And don't forget our mates at Match Bingo. They're smashing it with footy fun. You can get 5 bingo cards for the price of 4 through One Leeds, and you can even deposit just $5 at a time to join the action. It's a big chance to win whilst having a blast with your fellow Leeds United friends. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Check the links in the description, and let's get on with the video. Hello, everybody. My name is Conor McGilligan. This is One Leeds, and this is the Rumour Mill. What is going on in your world? Let me know in the comment section below. Listen, everybody, we're back here talking about court settlements, or out-of-court settlements, I should say. Players linked with Leeds United before we got certain personnel. Leeds looking at a double January swoop. Injury news. And, of course, quotes from some of our favourite boys, which just give us an understanding of what's going on behind the scenes. But good to see all the regulars in the building this morning. Hope you checked out White Noise last night with myself and Brownie. Well worth the viewing, your viewing pleasure, I should say, everybody. Make sure you check that out. It was a bit of a table break, but we went through everything that's going on now. I always love DB's sort of input on things because it's very different to what, let's say, Gabe has on here, and I think it's very different to what I have to say as well. So that is what it's all about here on One Leeds, getting a variety of opinions, understanding, respecting, but also having a bit of discourse, discussion, and debate. Good to see some of the regulars in here. Dinks is in here as well. We got Lofts as well. Please get a new recruitment team in ASAP. Not a great start there for Lofts. I'm in the sauna listening to my man Connor. Barry, whereabouts, mate? I've been thinking about getting involved in some sort of cold plunge sauna thing at the gym, but my gym doesn't facilitate that, so I might have to go elsewhere. Morning, Connor, says Gary McNamara on the catch-up today with this live and Brownie yesterday. Good man. Jay's in here as well. Great stream with Brownie last night. Make sure you go check it out if everybody hasn't yet. Thanks so much, Jay. Top man. Really appreciate your support there. Morning, Muckers. How you, Blaze Ray? Daryl says, morning, Connor, lad. Hope you're well, fella. Leeds United Comp's best time of the day. What a great comment that is. 50K is on the way. Yes, thank you, guys. I think we're now about 70 subscribers away from 50K, which is mad. Huge win. I was thinking about, getting involved in YouTube and where it's got to now. So listen, if you guys could do me an absolute solid, and if you're not subscribed, or if your friends could maybe subscribe and, they would like some Leeds United bits that I would provide. I was at footy training last night and there was a lad there and he said, I'm a big Leeds fan. He was only about 20 years old. I said, have you heard of One Leeds? And nearly gave him my calling card. But I didn't. But listen, you know what I mean? People like that, if they've not heard of it, they like this sort of stuff, they like their online communities, get involved in the One Leeds sphere, shall we? Okay, so let's get into today's news then, everybody. I wanted to start on Pascal of Struijk. We're going to get some polls going as well this morning. So make sure you've got your mouses ready to click maybe yes or no, or maybe. Struijk admitted in an interview yesterday, which was a really good read from Pascal, and it made me think of, once again, Jacobiol's situation and exactly maybe what was said to him and maybe what was maybe said to Pascal, and the quotes were really sort of intriguing. Pascal basically had several inquiries made on him in the summer, and it sounds like from what Pascal was saying verbatim that he had many offers to go elsewhere. His quotes in the post were saying that, yeah, he had the interview and several clubs had inquired. He'd heard of interest over the summer months, but he never doubted that he wasn't going to be at Leeds. For me, to play in the Premier League with Leeds, I wanted to do it again, which is fantastic from a Pascal side of things. And I always thought to myself with Pascal, I don't know if you guys agree, but he's never got the full respect that he deserves. This is a Bielsa baby. This is someone who was one of Marcelo's products. You know, this guy played at left back, he played centre back, he played CDM. And I never really feel, maybe because he's not that chest beater that, you know, Leeds, that some of the fans absolutely love. And I get that. It's something that we all maybe attract to. We maybe all attract to a little bit more of an Ampadu who's a big tackler. He's a big personality, and he's all about giving it the punch on the badge. Whereas Pascal feels like he's a little bit more of an introverted character, maybe someone who has taken a while to come out of himself. He's been captain of Leeds on plenty of occasions as well when the situation is suited. But I've never really felt that he's got the due respect. And it's good to hear him say something like this in the public eye, really, because it's basically saying, look, there was clubs in for me, but I wanted to stay at Leeds United. We were talking yesterday about Dominic Calvert-Lewin having Champions League offers, £18 million package from Fenerbahce, Man United, AC Milan, Newcastle, all looking for a short-term contract for the former England international, but him coming to Leeds United, that is a massive coup, especially if we can keep him fit as well. Hopefully it'll be a big coup throughout the season. But for me, I wanted to play in the Premier League with Leeds United again. And it comes to this conversation of Pascal was risking it, wasn't he? They brought Bornau in, they brought in a Slovenian international captain, obviously, in our man Jakobiol. But it does maybe pose the question, what would have happened if Jakobiol had been fit? You know, if Yaka had been fit from moment one, sorry, but not, as in not suspended, available, I should say, available for Leeds United and didn't have that suspension, would he have gone in immediately ahead of Pascal Struijk? And maybe he would have had a really good game against Everton as well. But Pascal, we know the levels that he can get to. I think he's been really decent this season. I think he's definitely improved as well in the last 2 or 3 games. But the interesting part of it, once again, is 2 years left on his deal. Stock very high right now with Leeds United. We're not extremely good, I don't think, as a football club at getting the best out of a transfer deal, you know, when the stock is high. So I do wonder if Leeds are looking at that at some stage and thinking to themselves, look, if we're able to get a certain amount of money for Pascal Struijk, we'd move him on. We've got, you know, the likes of Bornau. We'll probably bring in another centre-back, be all there as well. It's going to be fascinating to see how they deal with Pascal, I think, especially if they've got this monetary value. We're all in the off-season about us utilising that PSR, us actually being able to get a bit of money in for him. If it is 15, 20 million quid, that's going to be hugely advantageous for Leeds United. So I'm going to get something in the chat right now, everybody, and I want you to let me know on Pascal Struijk. Are you happy with him? Or, and maybe giving him a new contract? We'll put give new contract in there. Or would you look to sell when the stock is high? Let me know in the comment section below. Interested to hear what you guys have to say on that one. So the poll is in the chat right now. Let us know anyway, because I think that discussion point is very interesting when it comes to Pascal, as always. So next on the agenda, everybody, Leeds United have a transfer settlement. Okay, so Leeds and Everton have been going back and forth from effectively 21-22, and obviously, you know, beyond that, and there has been an out-of-court settlement. Leeds United felt aggrieved because Everton's spending was slightly over what they should have done when it came to those PSR limits, and obviously Leeds United went down in the 21-22 season. Leeds United felt that the competitive balance was tilted towards Everton unfairly. They sought some sort of, you know, fee, or they originally there was a lot on, you know, potentially points deduction immediately. We know that these things, because of appeals, but this didn't happen appeal wise, but we know with appeals, we know with lawyers in the Premier League, we know with City, don't we, lawyers fight in the Premier League, but just in general, lawyers been involved in a whole host of ridiculously top level lawyers, this can really elongate the process. But it looks like right now Leeds have had a problem with Everton, and this whole season Burnley are involved as well. But they've had a problem with Everton. Burnley have had a problem with Everton right now, and apparently Leeds didn't feel that they had enough to fight the Toffees in court. So they have agreed after this lengthy dispute for an out-of-court settlement, I should say. The monetary value hasn't been released yet, but Burnley are still going very heavy with Everton because apparently they haven't got that transfer compensation agreed yet with the Toffees. So morning, Connor says, rad music chat. How you doing, mate? Gaz Royd says, in my opinion, Pascal is our best centre-back. Leeds says, if we could get better, obviously sell, but Pascal's the price. Louis as well says, sell injury prone. We need to see Biel perform before making a decision on Pascal. Pascal will partner VVD with Holland this season. John Parr says, it's all if buts in football. If that happened, but it would be a different call. Yeah, that is correct, John. Yeah, you know what I mean. If my mother had a penis, she'd be my father and all that sort of stuff. Martin says, Connor, I heard Mick McCarthy is a Leeds fan. I thought he hated us. That's why in the past he wouldn't. I've never heard that, mate. I thought he was a Barnsley fan. Morning, everyone. Hi, Lee. How's it going? Adrian says, morning, Connor. Stroud deserves a new contract. If you play well, you should be in the team. Same with Darlow. Luke B says, extend his deal to keep his value. If he carries on, he'll be worth more than letting his contract run down and leaving us with a Mez situation. The poll now as well is happy. Give him a new contract. That's 75% of you, and 25% of you had said look to sell when the stock is high. It is interesting with Leeds with this. And I got a bit of flack yesterday when I spoke about Joel Piroe, and what I was saying with Piroe yesterday, and maybe the language I was using was a little bit harsh, but you guys know I can be a little bit like that when I've made a mental decision on maybe someone. But yeah, it's not to say Joel can't come back in and change this and all when it comes. Oh, guys, we've not even got the rumor mill on the hold on a sec here. I apologize. I've not even seen this on the old headlines. Apologies. We'll just go on the way. Connor is back. There we go. We're going to do this live person. Connor is back. Get your thoughts. Apologies for this. Goodness me. Get your thoughts in the section below on the way to 50k. And this is not white noise. This is the rumor mill. Flipping it. People will be confused. The benefits of live shows, everybody. There you go. Yeah, so the interesting part of Joel Piroe is, I was mentioning it yesterday, when you look at maybe that step up to the Premier League, and I guess you can force the Pascal Struijk conversation in here. When you look at the step up to the Premier League, you always thought that if Pascal was able to maintain his fitness, if Pascal was able to, get those sort of 10 to 12 games in the Premier League, of which he's been missing consistently, it feels, over the 4 or 5 years that he's been at Leeds United, there always seems to be an injury period, probably similar to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, really. If he gets that etched in his game, there's a Premier League player there. Etched out of his game, there's a Premier League player there. With Joel Piroe, I was mentioning yesterday that he doesn't appear, to me anyway, to be in the bracket of Isidore and Mienda. I think Isidore and Mienda at Sunderland is a comparison of two strikers who've just come up from the Championship, similarly to Joel Piroe, Zian Fleming, Lyle Foster. I feel that those two can acclimatise to the Premier League because of physical attributes. People were saying in the comment section, Connor, you're being harsh. I don't think I have been harsh. I think that Joel Piroe is potentially a marksman, maybe off the bench for the last 10, 15 minutes in certain games. But I think we saw against Arsenal just his general style of play, being able to hold the ball up, being quick in decision-making, being quick on his feet as well, has got a lot left to be desired at Premier League level. And this is what I was always saying with Joel Piroe. I knew this is how it would go. It's only early on. He's not been selected, but I would be shocked to see him start against the majority of the Premier League teams. Actually, in any Premier League game, I just think there's a quick speed of thought with Joel, but I don't think it translates to his limbs moving in a quick way. And I think the athleticism and physicality of the Premier League is so high. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll put that as a poll as well, because it was interesting. 75% thought Pascal should be given a new contract, but with Joel Piroe, should he be given a chance? Should he be starting? Or should Leeds, and this is the conversation as well, sell when the stock is high? Sell when stock high. Or we will just put as well another option, bench option is fine. Okay. Let's have a look at what you guys are saying as well. Richard said, didn't you also say Joseph was great? Was going to be great? No, Richard, you're talking out your ass, mate. I never said he was going to be great. But if you want to create this own narrative that you've got, mate, that's absolutely fine. But quote me correctly, or you'll just get muted from the channel. Don't lie. I don't like liars. And Purdue needs a new deal too. Got 1 year left in the summer. Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%. And I completely agree with you there. I think Struijk was talking about him as well, wasn't he? Saying how underrated Ethan Ampadu is and how Leeds United have really got to look at him and not in terms of his new contract, but really appreciate Ethan Ampadu for how good he is. There's a success rate percentage-wise of how good Leeds United have been with Ampadu on the pitch and how good Leeds United have been without Ampadu on the pitch. And there's a massive disparity between the two figures. So, yeah, look, we all know how important Ethan is. I think Ethan is probably the first name on the team sheet with Jayden Bogle. Me and Brown, who were talking about it last night. I think he's so important to Leeds United that, yeah, 1 year left on his deal. Come on, let's do it. Key City Cal says, how can you be harsh on Piroe? He was mostly anonymous in the championship last season. Deck says, I love Piroe, but you can tell he's not prem quality. His style isn't quick, but I do like him as a player. Tom W says, Connor, what are your views on Leeds and Everton making an agreement outside of court in regards to them staying up and all the controversy that came with it? You'd obviously, Tom, like to see some sort of points thing there, but I don't see what difference it's going to make, mate. I don't see what difference this is going to make right now. You know, it is what it is. Leeds are where they are. Everton, maybe even if there was a 2-3 points deduction, okay, you know, what is going to happen there? Like what? It's not going to be an impact on Leeds right now, is it? Let's be brutally honest. Everton are probably going to finish in the top 10. Everton get a slight points deduction right now in the year 2025. It will never happen from the year 21-22. There will be an appeals process if it went to court. So I think this is the only way. You know, this is the only way this was going to be settled. Really, you know, a bit of an out of court, you know, monetary, you know, exchange. It's boring, but it is what it is. Piroe says, Chaz says Peru's a good finisher, but that's about all I can say. There were many times last season that Piroe struggled to score consistently. Piroe has to be a bench option until we signal attacking options. We are already short in that area of the pitch. So in the poll right now, everybody, let me know what you think. Should he be starting? 8% of you say that he should be starting. Sell when stock is high. 59% of you, and a bench option is fine. So it looks like a lot of you are a little bit more on the sell when stock is high, which I think I'm earing towards as well, to be honest with you. But I do understand what the natural opinion is. Look, if we've not brought anyone in, we've not brought anyone in. So how can you actually talk about replacing Joel Piroe when you are literally just... I mean, you've got a player who scored 19 goals in the championship there. Yes, there's conversations about him being able to translate that to the Premier League, but he is still a depth option. However, if his stock is high right now, is his stock going to be high in a year's time? Probably not. Is his stock going to be high, you know, when we're all ready to let Joel Piroe go? Maybe not. You know, right now he's still riding on the crest of a wave of 19 championship goals last season. So, yeah, that is the conversation, I guess. Right, okay, we're going to move on as well, everybody, to... We didn't expect that little Joel Piroe caveat, but this does happen on the DDD, the Discourse Debate Discussion, and obviously one Leeds' rumour mill. I wanted to talk as well about Danny Murphy. Now, this morning, it wasn't a rant as such from Murphy. I mean, I put in the title, it was. I mean, he went on a little bit about Leeds, and it's like, okay, right, you've said your piece now, so it kind of was a little bit of the ranty frame. But he said this morning, and I like Danny Murphy. I really like Danny Murphy. So when he said this, I was a bit like, Danny, he's a bit gutted to hear that. And he has kind of mentioned it throughout the season. I think his punditry on Match of the Day is very good. I know all pundits split opinion. I'm a fan of Carragher, not that much of a fan of Neville. I do like Danny Murphy. Nader Manua, I really like him as well. I quite like Lescott. I think the pundits who can keep up with the modern game and not just talk about passion and getting stuck into tackles and all that sort of stuff are the pundits that I listen to. The others, I'm just a little bit like, yeah, you can get that, you know, you can get that anywhere. Passion, where's the tackle? You know, get stuck in. You should be fighting for the badge, all this sort of stuff. It's just, it's sentiment rubbish. I like the real analytical bits of where they try break apart play. I think Danny Murphy is good at doing that. I think he did a little bit of a piece as well a couple of weeks ago on Leeds. It was really interesting, actually. So I think Murphy's able to mix the both a little bit. And he was saying that I still when he was asked about his Leeds United prediction and the Premier League prediction, of which me and Brownie did the same thing last night, he said, I still think Leeds and Burnley will go relegation-wise. He said, there's a lack of power, despite Wolves' win for Leeds. I'd love to see them stay up. And he's always been very complimentary of Leeds. He's very much like Simon Jordan, but he just said, I don't think they will. I think how Danny's speaking about it is from a perspective of Wolves being an outlier. And look, we had outliers last time we went down, didn't we? We had several outliers of Leeds performing pretty well, getting a decent result, and then still going down, Leeds still going down. So that was the whole problem. It's like, there has to be a build on this. And I think this is why it's really important to keep your feet on the ground when it comes to Leeds United. We've still got an absolute arduous winter to get over. Winter is well and truly coming. And then we've obviously got the final furlong. We've got manager sackings, which will happen. Are there going to be boosts in these squads? Are Leeds going to actually invest in January? If they do invest in January, great. Are they going to be able to keep DCL fit? Is Okafor going to be fit? They've obviously had checkered histories. Now that's looking at the negative side of it. I put Leeds United in 16th yesterday in my table predictor. And I do stand by that. I think what I've seen so far with Leeds, and I'm not going to say, oh, Danny Murphy said this, that, and the other. So Danny Murphy's a you-know-what. I do respect Murphy. And I get his points of view there, really, when it comes to Leeds United. And I think that he's spoken before about the squad depth, and obviously that coincides with injuries. But I think if Leeds are able to win 2 games in 5, and that is a tall order, by the way, a very tall order in the Premier League. Someone said to us on the show last night, Connor, it's only Wolves, get over it. We've won the game. And it's a bit like, yeah, but you've got to bask in it, mate. You've got to bask in it. If you don't bask in it, if you don't enjoy the wins, then it's going to be a long old season, because there might be, me and Benjamin Bloom were talking about this yesterday, there might be a run of which Leeds United win 1 game in 12 and we lose 10 of 12 games. Now, I don't think that will happen, but that is a severe likelihood with how good this division is and how it can turn like that, and we're going to go through a hot spell from around about November 8th onwards till about January 10th, January 11th. It's a real hot spell for Leeds United. Believe that. So we're going to have to go into there, really adapt, be pragmatic. And ultimately in January, we're going to have to move. We're going to have to move now. Just moving on to a little bit of extra news. There's been a few sources this morning, including Hard Tackle, Football Insider, take it with a pinch of salt, but still. And there has been these sorts of rumours over the past couple of weeks when I've been looking at the rumour mill that Leeds are planning a double transfer scoop in January. They're still looking at a winger. They're still looking at a central attacking midfielder. That is apparently where Leeds are looking. Now, there was money for Harry Wilson right at the end of the window, if you're to believe reports close to Leeds. If that is the truth, and that was in around about 7 to 10 million quid, then Leeds United have to move. And if they have to sell players in January as well, Ilan Meslier, Joel Piroe, I don't know, to get players in, to be healthy when it comes to the PSR thing, that's negotiation. They've got to do that behind closed doors. That's got to be firing fit and ready for the January window for players to go out, so Leeds have a little bit more wiggle room to bring players in to help the existing squad. And sometimes Leeds United in January, or well, we know Leeds United in January, even last season to a certain extent, of which there were a lot of Leeds fans very upset. I thought we had enough, but maybe another player would have just given us that ease of thought. At least didn't do it. So they've got to go out and they've got to make moves in January. So with what Murphy's saying, he's talking about squad depth, but I think 2 wins out of 5 for 70, 80% of the season should be fine. I guess the conversation then is Potter's going to leave West Ham. We were talking about this last night. Potter is going to leave West Ham. I think Vitor Pereira will be okay probably in around till November, December, but I think he'll get the boot as well. And then you're looking at Brentford in around that period as well. Yeah, we're obviously talking about Sunderland and Burnley been in the conversation as well. So it's whether or not you think Leeds United have enough in comparison to those squads. Brown was making a good point last night when we were talking about West Ham. This is still a West Ham United side with, the likes of Todibo, Max Kilman, Areola, Mads Manson, Crescencio Somerville, Paqueta, Jared Bowen, Fulkrug, Callum Wilson. It's still a good team and they will invest in January. Sullivan's already said that. That Wolverhampton Wanderers team, I still think is missing a lot of quality. I still think they're going to go down. If I'm honest with you, there's too many risky players in there. But then you look at Brentford, I still think, I personally still think Brentford are going to be too strong to go down. So you're kind of looking at it there and you can understand where these pundits are looking at when it comes to Leeds, because as of right now, Wolves is an outlier. If we back that up against Burnley and West Ham, because I think the next two are going to be a bit of a difficulty when it comes to goals. Hopefully, I'm going to be wrong. But I think when they back it up against those two, or if they back it up against those two, it's then not an outlier. It's then not an anomaly. You're then actually able to score goals from open play. But there is still going to be this conversation, and there was still this conversation this morning at TalkSport when I was listening, that Wolves were just that bad that they gave Leeds United opportunities. So we have to build on that. You kind of have to turn that pundit and general fan opinion. But ultimately, we as fans as well want to see Leeds United scoring goals. So then we can be fully convinced that this Leeds United side are going to be remaining in the Premier League. Also, last time our defence was about as watertight as a fishnet condom. Brentford are down. Slam Dunk says, our season will be defined by the points we can steal from the top 10. Difference to last time is we weren't competitive in 90% of the games that then would have an outlier. This time we've been very competitive. I think that's a smart comment, Chris. That's a really smart comment, mate. And I was being a bit pedantic last night when it came to Brownie, and I was saying, look, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm telling you all the show now, aren't I? But if I'm to tell you on all the games, there's this additional context. Everton weren't the Everton that they are now. Newcastle had players out. Wolverhampton Wanderers have lost 4 on the bounce. These are all these devil's advocate playing, in the season. Are these teams going to be better organized, better structured, new managers? Are they going to be in a better state than obviously what they are now? And that will naturally be progression, won't it? And you're thinking these teams with how good a personnel and caliber and individual just players that they have when it comes to experience in the Premier League as well, this will get them to that level and it will develop. Yeah, they've had a bad start, but it will develop a little bit more. And Brownie was saying quite rightly, and look, we're talking about this off air before we started, it was part of the show notes, we've not had the likes of Altanaki, you've not had Ampadu consistently. There is changes in this squad. You've not seen Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Noah Okafor, and William Yonto together up front for near enough time. And I think that's our strongest base. I think in the midfield, you got Tanaka. I think you got Anton Stack. I think you've obviously got Ethan Ampadu, who's a 3, which hasn't been together enough. And then that front 3 as well. So there's a 6 there, really, from midfield to attack. And obviously, it's on Daniel Farke selecting the side that haven't been picked. And I think that's really important as well. So, yeah, guys, you let us know what you think on that in the comment section below. We are going to speak about Leeds United here. I want to get a little bit more of a poll in and what you guys think. We're polling, absolutely polling this morning. So, Piroe, a lot of you are saying sell when the stock is high. That's nearly 60% of you. But when it's Leeds United in the Premier League, in the PL, I want you guys to let me know, do Leeds United stay? Do Leeds United go? Do I stay or do I go now? Or is it too early for you guys to make a judgment? The poll is in the chat now. Let us know what you think over there. Really fascinated to hear what you guys think on that one. Okay, let's move on to the next rumor. What we're talking about now, we are going to be speaking about the ever-present and wonderful Largy Ramazani. No, there's a lot of Leeds fans talking about Leeds as winger. And look, obviously there's been a lot of discourse about, Okafor or Ramazani, who's the better player, who's here, who's there. But it doesn't really matter, really, when it comes to Largy Ramazani, because currently he is a Valencia player. I know he's on loan, but he is a Valencia player. So there's no point in really getting into the discourse too much about Largy Ramazani. He is he does currently have an injury. Some of you guys were saying on the previous video, Connor, what's happening with him? He's got an injury. Does this mean it's long-term? From what I understand, the Ramazani injury is out for the Valencia's next game. Carlos Corberán has said the other day that it looks like it's just a knock, so they're going to have to wait and see. But Largy Ramazani looks like he's absolutely fine, which is good news. The next bit of conversation we'd mentioned earlier from Hard Tackle and Football Inside of that just kind of merged and meshed within the last story. Was Leeds are apparently planning a double swoop in January when it comes to some enforcements. And this guy is not off the cards. Now, I don't really see this happening whatsoever. I thought he was brilliant at the weekend for Manchester City. I think Nico O'Reilly has got a spot in that Manchester City side. But still, from the summer and still now, according to sources this morning, Leeds want Nico O'Reilly. Leeds want Harry Wilson. Now, the Harry Wilson U-turn we were speaking about yesterday, Fulham are apparently now looking at offering him a new contract. Can you believe that? The 28-year-old, a new contract. They didn't manage to get Tyreek George. They got Chukwueze through the door. They got Willian regen, Kevin through the door as well. And now they are looking apparently as Fulham, as soon as possible, of trying to offer Harry Wilson a new deal. But Leeds are apparently, according to several reports, we mentioned this yesterday, are still really confident that they can get the deal done. Apparently, according to sources near Leeds, they're confident as well that Harry Wilson wants the deal. Now, guys, would you, I've not asked you this on the rumour mill yet, would you actually go and get Harry Wilson? Is he good enough for you for the Leeds United side? I think Harry Wilson would be good depth. I think there's a different profile there who can play centrally, can play off the right-hand side as well. I'm not going to judge him on that Leeds United game. There's a lot of people just saying, Connor, he played crap against us, which means he's not good enough. Well, I mean, we had 11 players who played crap against Arsenal. That doesn't mean those players aren't good enough. But Arsenal fans may think now that all the Leeds players are crap football players. I don't think you can make a judgment on just one game. I think Harry Wilson overall gives Leeds that guile, that innovativeness, and just that set piece threat. I know a lot of people, once again, will now be saying, but look at Stack. But I don't think Stack from corners is great, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he is. I think generally from free kicks as well, when he's putting the ball into the box, he doesn't really get the right trajectory and pace on the ball. Look, that one at the weekend was brilliant, wasn't it? Just on goal. It was an outstanding finish. But I want to see Stack in the box as well. So someone like Harry Wilson coming in alleviates that pressure off Anton. So we've got the poll as well in the chat says, will Leeds United, I put Leeds will Leeds get relegated? They've got 45% of fans here saying that Leeds will stay in the Premier League. 8% are saying Leeds will go. And 47% are saying Leeds United will. I can't make my judgment yet because Leeds United is way too early. Okay, so now we're going to stick another poll in the chat. Harry Wilson, yes or no? Really simple. In January, yes or no? Bob said there's 678 watching and only 230 likes. Yeah, guys, let's rack those up as well. And if you're not subscribed to the channel as well, please make sure you do so. We are heading on the way to 50K. Let us know in the chat anyway. So far, we've got about 25 votes. Harry Wilson, we've got 63% of you so far saying that you would take Wilson. Let's have a look at what the comments are saying as well. We need Stack in the box. We've only played 5 games. Wait till West Ham, and we're going to need 50 points minimum. I don't think we'll need 50 points, mate. Kirsch says Wilson will have Premier League experience, but Silver said on Sky he's confident the player will sign a new deal indeed. 3 months to plan, and Harry Wilson is the best we have to come up with. Hopefully, with this double January swoop, it's going to be, we're going to have alternatives as well. And Leeds aren't doing the normal Leeds thing where we pursue a player for 500 days and then ultimately get let down at the end. Let's have some backup options, shall we? But the backup dancers have also got to be, you know, the ones that you will put in the main show as well, because what's the point in signing backup dancers if they're not going to feature at all for Leeds United, or at least be credible Leeds United options in the Premier League. Leeds Lens says, I like a front line of Okafor, DCL and Wilson. The variety of attributes in the front three would make it a successful one, in my opinion. I agree with you, mate. I think being able to go out and sign a player who gives you that different profile, I think is really important, because you just don't want those similar profiles. Daniel Farke might not favour a player as well. Let's say hypothetically it's Willie Gnonto, then Willie Gnonto doesn't feature, and then you've got Brendan Harrison on the right for the entire of the Premier League season. Brendan Harrison and Dan James, who I feel you take Dan James's speed out of proceedings when it comes to him and Harrison. I think there's a lot more similarities than we actually think when it comes to those two players, decision making, etc. So yeah. January, Mike Taylor says January could be decent if we prepare properly. It's a World Cup year and we've got loads of loan spots. We've got loan spots available. We could hire higher target fringe players, high profile fringe players that need game time. I think that's a brilliant comment, Mike, and I think you bang on. World Cup years are huge. They're absolutely huge. You get fringe players at Premier League clubs who are thinking, right, I was promised minutes, Jacobiel, but I was promised minutes. And what I'm thinking is this has been a World Cup year. He's probably quite a good conversation point actually there, isn't it, when it comes to Yaka and getting minutes. He's obviously going to start for Slovenia, which is the beneficiary of where Leeds are now when it comes to Yaka, because you know, he's one of their better players, so he's obviously going to start for them. But he does need to be playing minutes. You know, he's got a World Cup year. He needs to get that sharpness, that fitness to a level of which he can fit into a Slovenia squad or whatever it may be. But you know, you look overall as well, and we look at these fringe players, and there's going to be a lot of them at top clubs who need minutes, and they need to be on the pitch to be able to play for their national side. That's a really good comment as well. Bob Young says no promoted team has been relegated when achieving 11 points from the first 10 games, so 4 more points. Yeah, Bob, it might be a little bit more this season. Might be a little bit more this season. I think this is going to be a really competitive Premier League campaign. A really, really competitive Premier League campaign, which is definitely something to keep an eye on. Matty Turner says, at least this year, there'll be a scrap at the bottom. There definitely will be. Shane says, AFCON will be tough for Sunderland. I think it will be. It seems like a lot of the Sunderland fans, though, from a video that I was on the other day, are really still quite confident in the likes of Chris Rigg and maybe Dan Neil as well. So, yeah, maybe Sunderland have recruited for, like, you know, to get points on the board before AFCON and potentially afterwards, but then they will happily rely on Dan Neil, Chris Rigg, etc. when said competition happens. And how far will they get as well? That's something you got to bear in mind as well, because if they don't get far, they're coming home. Okay, Patrick Bamford. Bit of conflicting news is the news here as well. Apparently, the Getafe coach Jose Bardalas has said that Bamford to Getafe is just a rumor, which is interesting because every other source close to Getafe now is reporting that Bamford a deal will be set to be completed as well. So I don't know really with that one. I think Bamford will end up out there. I think the coach is probably just saying, look, we're not going to get the rumors too high. Because if you get the rumors too high and you're talking about this, that, and the other, then I guess are we going to be able to get the deal done? So I don't mind that whatsoever. I think Bamford he deserves a little bit of a sign off, doesn't he, as well? So I think he'll be a Getafe player pretty soon as a bit of depth. Last team to get relegated with more points, 8 in their first. Didn't need to see that, mate. Didn't need to see that. Could Jaden Philogene make the Premier League jump? Still not sure with him, mate. Still not sure. He always likes it up at Championship level. I'm still not sure with him at Premier League level, but could be wrong on that one. We'll have to wait and see. Nathaniel Brown. Now, Leeds have been interested in Nathaniel Brown for a long, long time now. A heck of a long, a period of time of which we've been rumoured to him. Since I've been doing the rumour mill, this guy's been a player of which Leeds have been interested since he was 18 years of age. Now, apparently, according to sources today, Leeds were extremely keen on Nathaniel Brown, and they were rivaling apparently Manchester United and Chelsea. Manchester United and Chelsea didn't offer up a good enough deal. Frankfurt, obviously, contractually were able to offer a little bit of a better option there and have done for a period. But yeah, apparently Leeds United were interested in Nathaniel Brown, and he was their number one option before Gabby Goodmanson. But there you go. I'm very, very happy with Gabby Goodmanson. I think he's a terrific player. And for me, he could be up there with Anton Stack as Leeds United's best signing. Who knows? Maybe that should be a poll. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me today. Slap a like on the video. We will have timestamps on this rumour mill. I hope you've enjoyed it. We will be back at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We've struggled today just because there's been bits and bats going on. But worst case scenario, it will be max 11 o'clock. But notoriously, we are going to be going for the 10 o'clock slot. Listen, bad news. Gabe isn't coming over. Okay, Gabe isn't coming over for the Friday meet. He's been denied access into the UK. No idea why, but there's nothing dodgy going on there with our friendly American. But unfortunately, there is something going on which he still isn't aware of what's going on. So that's going to be off the cards. Me and the missus will be in Leeds on Friday night if you guys are about. I've now drafted Gabe out and brought my missus in to come to Leeds as well to just stay over because we're staying over to come and meet you guys. We had a heck of a lot of you who were saying, look, we're going to come down, but unfortunately, I don't think this is going to happen anymore, which is a bit of a problem, but it is what it is. Guys, we are on the way to 50K. No problem, Ellie. Thank you so much. But we are on the way to 50K. Make sure you do